Well, good morning, everybody. It's Friday. Welcome to Coffee with Doc here on Friday, and it's March the 12th. And believe it or not, we are wrapping up the book of Revelation. Uh, I told you when we first started this that it would seem like I was really hurrying through it, but the book of Revelation is so easy to get bogged down in, and I didn't want to do that, so we've kind of skimmed a lot. And I also warned you when I started that I was not going to dogmatically say this is that. And a lot of guys do that, but I don't do it. Uh, Number one, I don't mind telling you that I don't know everything. But number two, I don't mind telling you that nobody else knows everything either. So we're good to go. Anyway, we're finishing up today the book of Revelation. It kind of rushes through it as it gets on past the 7 year tribulation period. You know, have the church age in 2 and 3, the vision he saw in chapter 1, and then we kind of get bogged down by virtue of just the way it's written, with a long series of parentheticals and panoramic views of the middle part, the 7 year tribulation. And then when we get to the end, it just kind of flash bang again, and we're through. And so we looked last week at yesterday and Tuesday at the demise, or the capture of the beast, the Antichrist, and the false beast, and then the battle of Armageddon, and the destruction of the earthly things to a large extent. And then we looked at the millennial reign of Christ, the 1,000 years, where Satan has been chained for a short time. And then we looked yesterday at the fall of Satan, literally him being chained and put away forever and ever and ever, and the great white throne judgment, where those who have refused to accept Christ are also thrown into the pits of hell forever and ever. Now then, we come to the last chapter of Revelation, and I mean, it is so refreshing because there's been so much destruction and everything. And I know people wonder, well, what, with the rivers turning to blood and the sea turning to blood and the mountains being removed and this being done and that being done, we're destroying the earth. No, we do not destroy the earth. God destroys the earth, but better yet, God replaces the earth. And he doesn't do it with water. He said, I won't do that again. But I'll tell you what, he does replace the earth. Now, you talk about replacement theory, you talk about replacement theology. That's a discussion of saying that the church has replaced Israel in God's plan. No, 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 no. That does not happen. God still deals with Israel, but I'll tell you what he does do. He gives us a new heaven and a new earth. He replaces the old earth. You talk about climate change. How about climate replacement? And it's being done by somebody who can do it in the first place. Listen to what he says in chapter 21. Then I saw a new heaven, John says. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. No sea? But I've worked all my life to save the sea. Well, sorry about that, Bubba. It ain't going to happen. There is no more sea. And in verse 2, he said, I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. And they will be his people. And God himself will be with them and be their God. And he will wipe away every tear from their eyes." I remember I cried when my daddy died. I cried when my mama died. I cried when both my brothers died. I've cried a lot when my friends have died. I've cried with pain. I've cried with heartbreak. Oh, he will wipe away every tear from their eyes. Whose eyes? Ours. And there will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain. Why? How's that going to happen? How's that going to be? And I can understand take away the sea, but no dying. No, I can't wrap my brain around that. Oh, listen to this last part of that sentence. For the old order of things has passed away. It's a new day. It's a new dawn. It's a new heaven. It's a new earth. And verse 5, he who was seated on the throne, this is the Father, said, "I am making everything new." Wow. I'm making everything new. Then he said, "Write this down, John, for these words are trustworthy and true." And he said to me, now listen, "It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To the thirsty I will give water without cost." But what about that sea that he did away? There'll be no more water. He did away with the sea. The old order of things have done away with. To the thirsty I will give water without cost from the spring of the water of life. Those who are victorious will inherit all this. And listen, I will be their God, and they will be my children. And what you've been used to in your life, not going to be there anymore. He says, "But the cowardly, the unbelieving, the vile, the murderers, the sexually immoral, those who practice magic, arts, idolaters, and all liars, they will be consigned to the fiery lake of burning sulfur, which is the second death." A new heaven, a new earth, a new order of things. Oh, me. And up steps another angel. Verse 9, one of the seven angels who had the seven bowls full of the seven last plagues came to me and said to me, "Come, I got one more thing to show you." Oh, no, there's going to be some more death, more killing. He just said there wasn't going to be any more death. What's he going to show me now? The last vial, the last plague? Come, I will show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb, those for whom he died, the church. And he carried me away in the Spirit to a mountain great and high, and showed me the holy city, Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God. And it shone with the glory of God, and its brilliance was like that of a very precious jewel, like a jasper, clear as crystal. It had a great high wall with 12 gates, and with 12 angels at the gates. And on the gates were written the names of the 12 tribes of Israel. And there were 3 gates on the east, 3 on the north, 3 on the south, and 3 on the west. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and on them were the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And the angel who talked with me had a measuring rod of gold to measure the city and its gates and its walls. The city was laid out like a square as long as it was wide. He measured the city with the rod and found it to be 12,000 stadia in length, and as wide and high as it is long. And the angel measured the wall using human measurement, and it was 144 cubits thick. And the wall was made of jasper, and the city of pure gold, as pure as glass. The foundation of the city walls were decorated with every kind of precious stone. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third agate, the fourth emerald, the fifth onyx, the sixth ruby, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth topaz, the 10th turquoise, the 11th jacinth, and the 12th amethyst. Then the 12 gates were 12 pearls, each gate made of a single pearl, and the great street of the city was of gold, as pure as transparent glass. And I didn't see a temple in the city, because the Lord God Almighty and the Lamb are its temple. And the city does not need the sun or the moon to shine on it, for the glory of God gives it light, and the Lamb is its lamp. And the nations will walk by its light, and the kings of the earth will bring their splendor into it. Oh, no day will its gates ever be shut, for there will be no night there. The glory and honor of the nations will be brought into it. Nothing impure will ever enter in it, nor will anyone who does what is shameful or deceitful, but only those whose names are written in the Lamb's book of life. Oh, wow. My. I thought I was going to get through it today, but I'm not. If I'm not sick, we're going to finish it up Monday. You talk about the cliffhanger of all cliffhangers. We'll see you in chapter 22 next Monday. Y'all have a great, great weekend. Wow, heaven. Going to be great.